What's up, metalheads? I'm Jamie. This is the Blades and EDC channel, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. To everyone who's already subscribed, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. If you enjoy the video, hit that like button for me. It really helps the channel to grow. And today I got a pretty cool video for you. I've got another episode of Versus for you, and this episode we are going to put the Axial Shift up against the Microtech Ultratech. Two OTFs, more on the premium end of OTFs. Ultratech's been around for a very long time. The Axial Shift is a fairly new company, and who's doing pretty impressive things, I have to say. Obviously, very similar knives, you know, OTFs, but there are differences, and let's go over those. First thing I'm going to do is give you the specs on them. Overall length of the Shift is 8.19 inches. Overall length of the Ultratech is 8.5 inches. Blade length on the Ultratech is 3.44 inches, and the blade length on the Shift is 3.3 inches. Cutting edge on the Shift is 3.25 inches, and the cutting edge on the Ultratech is 3.125 inches. Blade thickness on the Ultratech is 130 thousandths at the thickest point, and on the Shift it's 125 thousandths at the thickest point. This is the S35VN version, but I'm going to give you pricing and everything for the 20CV version of this. This knife is part of a pass around, so this was not purchased. This is just being passed around to different channels to check out and review. And this one is actually an M390. So, and this is just an overview because I haven't cut with either of these knives. This is for the knife sale. This is for the pass-around group. So, since this is M390, I'm going to give you the comparable pricing for the 20CV version of the Shift. So, just want to get that out there for you. All right, the Shift with the 20CV blade is 200 and... Well, let me take it off the coated blade. $265 for the Shift, and the Ultratech is $310. So that would be 20CV for this one and M390 for this one, but this one changes from time to time. Microtech switches up their premium still. Sometimes it's M390, sometimes it's not. So you really don't know what you're going to get. Even when you buy it from Blade HQ, it just says premium blade steel. You don't know what you're going to get. But recently, from what I've seen, most of them have been M390 blade steel, and this one here is M390 blade steel. So, all right. So, got the specs on them. Let's talk about ergonomics first. All right. As you can see, the Shift is wider than the Ultratech. A little wider this way. As far as thickness goes this way, they're pretty much identical. The Shift may be a hair thicker, just a hair, if it's even at all. I'm gonna call it even in the thickness, but in the width, the Axial is a little wider. I didn't give you the weight on them, did I? The weight on the Shift, it doesn't give. Oh, yes, it does give it to me. Weight on the Shift is 3.5 ounces, and the weight on the Ultratech is 3.4 ounces, so 1/10 of an ounce off. Let's see. I already know the answer to this, but I just want to make sure before I say anything. Yeah, the ergos go to the Shift for sure. It feels better in hand. It's not just the shape of it. If you look at the shape of this, it kind of goes in right here. It's flat back here, and it kind of comes in, it curves in, and then back out. It just feels more comfortable in hand. It just feels very comfortable in hand. On the Microtech, the thinness for me makes it not as comfortable. If it were, I think the wideness is why I like the Shift better. Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to give ergos to the Shift. And also the way the metal is finished feels better on the Shift. It's a different type of finish on these. I'm not sure what the difference is, but I think this jimping right here, it's a little more aggressive than this jimping here is. This is definitely aggressive on my finger when I got it up there. It's not painful or anything, but I could see if I were using this knife repeatedly for a lot of cuts, it could become painful. But I don't think you really use OTFs for that sort of cutting, so probably wouldn't become an issue. So either way, Shift wins ergos for me. Let's talk about the pocket clips, because that's a big one with these two knives. Going in and out of the pocket, Microtech wins. The Shift really needs to bring this up a little more. Keep this flat so you don't have a hot spot, right? But they need to bend it up a little more and give you a little more space right here to get it in and out of your pocket, because this is pretty tight going in and out of your pocket. It goes in and out of it, but it is tight. Going in and out of the pocket, the Ultratech wins for sure. But here's the downside. This pocket clip is an ergonomic nightmare. It's terrible. This thing's gonna be such a hot spot right there. It is for me, right below my middle knuckle. That's gonna not be comfortable at all. I feel this all up in my hand right here. I am not a fan of the way that clip. They should flatten it out like the Shift is. Do something to flatten it out. But I got to give it to them on, you know, function. Going in and out of pocket, it works perfectly. It's a clear winner, actually. So yeah, but it causes issues with ergonomics for sure. And this one, you don't even feel this thing in your hand. That pocket clip just vanishes into your hand. It may as well not even be there. So I think if they could just raise this up just a hair, give it a little more space in between the frame of the knife and the pocket clip on this end where it flattens out, it would be perfect. Because once you get your jeans or whatever past that and it gets to where it folds down and touches the knife there, the part that clips it into your pocket, it goes in and out fine. But it's just, this is so thin. If you got jeans on, this gets caught on your jeans quite a bit. So yeah, I think they could definitely improve that clip. And it would be a home run, because ergonomically it's fantastic. So yeah. All right, let's talk about these buttons, because that's another big difference between these two knives. Although at first glance may not look like a big difference, look quite similar actually. Although the shape of the pyramid milling here is quite different. Here's the thing. This one, the Ultratech, it's extremely aggressive. This will tear your thumb up. It really will. It's extremely aggressive and uncomfortable, honestly. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I don't use a lot of OTFs. They're not legal for me to carry, so my thumbs aren't built up with calluses so good in those spots that they would be if I use this knife all the time. But, you know, this knife, the Shift is extremely comfortable on my thumb. I'm not going to say it's extremely comfortable, but it's a lot more comfortable than the Ultratech is. The way it's not as sharp on your thumb as this is, and I know that's meant for, you know, jimping, so you don't slide off the button. But I'm not sliding off the button on this one either, and it's much better the way they've done the milling on this. This button is much better than this button is for sure. Something else with these two buttons is different. So the Shift gets the button for that, but listen to this, okay? I'm gonna shake this Shift around. You can hear a little bit of noise in there. Now let me shake this around. That's the button rattling around. I don't know how well it's gonna pick up on mic, but that button just, there's the Shift. Here's the Microtech. If I hold my finger on this button, you hear this? If I hold my finger on this and shake it, most of that sound is gone. So this button's got like a rattle to it, which is not a big deal, but I don't like it personally. Hold my finger on this button, still got that same sound. So that's the something moving around on the inside. It's probably just the blade moving on the springs and everything, I guess. And you get that with this also. But with my thumb off that button, the button wants to move around and rattle around. It's got a little play in it, see? To where this one, nothing. It's solid. Now, as far as firing, or I guess action is what you would call it with these knives, this is where a slow-mo cam would come in very, very handy, but they're very, very expensive. And you could actually, you know, put a ruler out here and we could measure the speed of that deployment. It's hard for me to say for sure, but I'm trying to hold it steady so I can try to just feel that blade move and watch with my eyes. I think it fires harder on that shift. I really do. Try not to be biased here, but I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. I think this one fires faster. I really do. It feels like it fires faster also. It feels like the springs are stronger. This one hurts my thumb. Doing that over and over again, it's hurting my thumb. So I'm gonna call it a tie because I have no scientific evidence to tell you for sure which one's faster, but although I'm calling it a tie, it feels like this one's firing harder and smoother, I guess I would say. Now, with the blade open on both of these knives, with pretty much all OTFs, unless you get into super high-end stuff, which I've never felt, I've just heard others say it, you're going to get some blade rattle, you know? It's just the nature of the beast with an OTF. You're going to get some blade rattle. Which one is getting more blade rattle? I got quite a bit of left and right and up and down with the Ultratech. It's going both ways. With the shift, I got side to side and up and down. Feels about the same, just a little bit of movement. I'm gonna call that one a tie also. Although I think the shift may have a little more side to side. It's hard for me to do that fairly too because this Ultratech's practically new. And this thing's been going around a pass around group to a bunch of other people that have had it for a couple weeks each. So I don't know what it was like when it was new, but right now I think it has slightly more side to side. The up and down feels pretty much the same, but side to side I got a little more in here. I'm not sure if that really matters or not, but thought I would point it out to you guys. Aesthetics. Well, I'm not going to include the blade shape on these because I personally don't like the blade shape on either of these. I do want to buy a shift, and I want the Wharncliffe blade, the DLC coated Wharncliffe blade in 20 CV. They're sold out currently. But just looking at the handles and the way this pocket clip is horrendous. It works great, but it looks terrible, and it's terrible in hand. I don't like the glass breaker. That may be able to be removed. I'm not sure about that. I also definitely prefer the way they've done this pocket clip here. Look at the way it goes into the body of the knife, the frame of the knife. It's not sticking out here on the end and get all this going on here and place to tie a lanyard and all that kind of stuff. It's just sleek and elegant. One screw through the top, and you can unscrew this, take it out, go on the other side for left-hand carry, right? Left hand or right hand. So that's pretty cool that you can do that. I like the fact that these are Torx screws, and these are Microtech's proprietary screws. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like that. I don't understand why in 2022 we're still using those, but they do what they do over at Microtech. I don't like the, you know, all the branding here. It's just unnecessary. Look at Axials. Just a little milling right there. And then they mill an American flag on the side here. And that's all you get. And you can get this in all kinds of colors: purple, blue, teal, all kinds of colors, and blade shapes and finishes. Same for the Ultratech, all kinds of colors, blade shapes, and finishes. Aesthetically, and one thing I will include in the aesthetics, I'm not going to talk about the blade shape, but I'm going to talk about the billboarding. Just got Axial there. On Microtech, you got all those, you know, USA, Microtech, Ultratech, TE. TE's because it's Tonto. This side you get nothing. This side you get the blade steel on this one. I'm going to give the aesthetics overall to the Axial for sure. I definitely prefer it. I wish that they could just get rid of the billboarding on the blade too. You got your logo right there. We don't need it on the blade too. There's no reason for it to be there. And make the blade still smaller. Some, you know, stick it down here at the edge, similar. It's one thing Microtech did better. Got the M390 right down here, kind of out of the way. I wish Axial would do that and just remove Axial. I would say I wish Microtech would remove all this, but they're not going to. It doesn't matter. No reason to even say it. So, yeah. Aesthetically, I definitely think the Axial wins. The Axial wins. Ergo's aesthetics. I'm calling the action even. I'm calling the blade play pretty much even. The pocket clip function definitely goes to the Microtech, but that pocket clip causes the ergonomics to be horrible. The button, the firing mechanism or the button here, definitely the Axial wins that. It's so much more comfortable than the Microtech. So much more comfortable. So, yeah. My overall winner will be the Axial Shift in this one for sure. I can appreciate the Microtech, and I know they go for a different aesthetic over there and look, which is one of the reasons I've never really been much of a fan. I don't like a lot of things about this knife, but I can appreciate what they do and how, you know, they've been doing it for a long time. But Axial is killing it for the price. I mean, you're getting it for like $50 cheaper than an Ultratech, and it's a better knife in my opinion. It's a better knife. Keep in mind, you do not have to get a double-sided edge blade. This is just part of the pass-around group. I wouldn't buy this blade. I would want a blade where I could sit my thumb up there if I needed to. That's why I'd get the Wharncliffe blade. And yeah, Axial's doing good things. They're having problems keeping them in stock. They're doing so good. So I will link both these knives down below if you want to take a look at them. This one, some of these I think are in stock. I don't think the DLC coated blades are in stock, but I think the stonewash blades are in stock right now. So you may be able to pick one up. And some of the other knife channels have discount codes. So if you are interested in picking one up, I think Lefty 10 or maybe it's Tri-State 10. One of those two guys has a discount code at Axial, so you can save 10%. So check one of their channels in the description, and it'll probably be listed down there in the description of one of their videos somewhere. And I don't think anybody has discount codes to Microtech. One other thing I want to bring up is I'm not a big fan of what Microtech is doing to Axial, trying to sue them. Of course, I don't know the legalities behind that, but they're saying this is an imitation of this in some way. It's an imitation of every other OTF out there. So, and I don't see you suing those guys. So, you know, why you suing the new kid on the block and the made in the USA new kid on the block? You know what I mean? So, you know, but Axial's still going to keep making them. They're doing their thing. So good on them. And I think Axial, if they can keep making this quality at this price point, they're going to really start to take away a big chunk of the market from Microtech. Easily going to take away a big chunk of the market because it's a better OTF in my opinion and at a better price. So it's a no-brainer for me. All right, guys, if you own either of these knives, comment below and let me know what you think about them. And if you know more about what's going on between Microtech and Axial, I'd love to hear. I don't know all the details there, but I know there's some legal letters going around back and forth or something. So yeah, comment below if you know anything about that. Hit that like button for me if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys on the next one.